Ariana Grande has found herself in the middle of countless questionable situations throughout the years, from the black fishing, then the Asian fishing, fake accents, and sudden voice changes.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
All the way to donut licking and husband stealing. And yet, recently, as if we didn't have enough of this already, Ariana Grande has been publicly called out for her, quote, audacity to disrespect the Halloween queen, Elvira. So here we go again, witnessing Ariana display even more sus behavior and apparently revealing her fake mean girl persona. But in my opinion, there's a lot more to this story than people realize. So here's what happened. Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, mistress of the dark, was recently asked in a Q&A interview about some of her celebrity experiences, apparently, and she decided to take this opportunity to expose her negative experience with Ariana Grande. So she went on to tell the story of how Ariana, well,
Ariana Grande,
even though we all know who she's talking about, obviously, refused to take a picture with her backstage at one of her shows 7 years ago. And this is not the full video, just remember that because it's important. We'll talk about that in a minute, but here's the story.
She came and she brought 20 guests. So she wanted 21 tickets. We're like, okay.
Quick pause here because this already seems kind of snubby. Is she implying that Ariana expected these 21 tickets to just be given to her? Or did she pay for these tickets? That part is unclear, but based on the way she's telling the story, it seems like they just gave her all these tickets for free. To be fair, that is a lot of free tickets to just give away. But let's continue.
And we give her the tickets and she comes backstage and she asked if I could take pictures with all of her friends and relatives she brought. I take a picture with every single one of them. I sign autographs for every single one of them.
Okay, so clearly this is a nice thing for Elvira to do, agreeing to take pictures with all 20 of Ariana's guests backstage before the show even starts. And this is after giving them tickets in the first place, assuming they were given for free. But let's see what happens next.
Then I say to her, could we take a photo together? And she goes, no, I don't really do that. I mean, come on, okay?
So Ariana's response to Elvira doing all of that and then asking if they can take one picture together is just no thank you. I don't do that. I mean, it's definitely giving I'm entitled to your time, but you're not entitled to mine. Pretty rude. And finally.
And then she left before my show started. All her relatives stayed.
Yeah, so this clip started going viral and fans were appalled but also not surprised at Ariana's shady behavior here, especially given the context of her past controversies. But once this story started making headlines, Elvira actually posted all of this on her Instagram as well, which seems kind of unnecessary to me because, like, why are you trying to bring more attention to it voluntarily? Kind of a red flag, but again, more on that in a minute. And Ariana actually commented on this post and apologized somewhat snubbingly for how this situation went down. Here's what she said. I'm so disheartened to see this. I actually don't even remember getting the chance to meet you because I had an anxiety attack into my memory left before the rest of my family. This was around 7 years ago, and at the time I was really not great with being in public crowds or loud places, but if I'm misremembering this moment, I sincerely apologize for offending you so. Now this first part of Ariana's comment / apology is fairly reasonable, and she's mentioning the fact that this happened 7 years ago because that was around the same time that the Manchester Arena bombing happened in May 2017, and this encounter with Elvira happened in October, so turns out it was only around 5 months later that this all happened. Meaning it could be that Ariana was just battling severe PTSD from this awful experience she had to go through just months earlier, and that's the reason why, as she's implying in this response, she declined the photo op and left the show early. However, this second part of her comment, this needs to be studied. Thank you for being so nice to my mom. She told me how lovely you were. She might have different feelings about that now, but I'll talk to her. Clearly, we all have our days. Sending love always. You'll always be our queen of Halloween. So is she saying that her mom probably doesn't like her anymore now that she's like shading Ariana like this? Because if so, it's definitely coming off as passive aggressive and like snobby. And for what? Well, stick with me because this is where it gets interesting. Remember how this video started with Elvira basically saying Ariana Grande's name in Morse code? Yeah, well, when this story first came out, everyone assumed, me included, that the question Elvira was being asked was, what was your worst celebrity encounter? To which she answered, obviously, and told the story. But I could not stop thinking about the fact that we might be missing an important part of this viral clip because it starts in such a random spot and it's not showing the actual question she was asked before she started talking and telling the story, which could change things So I did some investigative digging and I found the full 31-minute video of this Q&A with Elvira, aka Cassandra, telling this story, and to my surprise slash suspicion, we were missing a key part of this video. So this is what the actual question was.
Helen from Pasadena says, who was your favorite celebrity that was in the audience of your show?
I'm sorry, what? So she wasn't asked who her worst, specifically her worst celebrity encounter was? Okay, weird. Well, what was her response?
Oh, my favorite celebrity. I'll tell you who my least favorite, but no, I won't tell you.
Girl. So after she says this, the audience is obviously like, tell us who did. She kind of like awkwardly giggles and then continues to name a few of her favorite celebrities that were at her show, answering the question. And that's where she could have ended it. Zero controversy, zero shade thrown, but no, she ends it with this.
I shouldn't have mentioned the bad one.
Like, sis, why are you dragging it up like that? And like purposely trying to turn it negative and spill the tea. She even looks at the host and pauses like, aren't you gonna follow up on that little nugget I threw you a second ago? Oh, you're not? Okay, I'll remind you. Like, so obviously now she brought it up again, and the audience and the host now and the panel are like trying to figure out who this person is. So she's gotten herself in it now. She kind of has to say who it is. Then someone in the audience yells out, "What does it rhyme with?" And this is where the video starts. That viral clip that we started with.
Rhymes with Ariana Grande.
So, contrary to what many people assumed, she actually wasn't just being honest and answering a question that was asked. She was actually asked about her favorite celebrity encounter. Instead of just answering that, she decided to take this as an opportunity to call out this negative encounter with Ariana Grande not wanting a photo with her and leaving her show early 7 years ago. Well, that changes things, doesn't it? Because there were so many people commenting about how she was just asked a question and she was just being honest by answering and telling the story, and this is her truth, whether you like it or not. And that might be partially true, but I mean, y'all saw what really happened. She brought it on herself. She even wrote in the caption of her post, "Context is everything," but failed to mention the part where she literally flipped the script and turned this positive question into a negative, like, drama one. So I hate to defend the mean girl, but maybe that explains the second part of Ariana's comment where she's like kind of shading her because she's like, really? Like, you're gonna bring this up now? Like this? Clearly we all have our days. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make it less shady, but it does kind of make it make more sense, in my opinion. To me, it does seem like Cassandra has been holding on to this story for, well, I guess 7 years. And she obviously hasn't let this go. So maybe she has been like subconsciously looking for an opportunity to talk about it. Who knows? But clearly she wanted to talk about it. And don't get me wrong, Ariana's response is still not totally justified, but I feel like she's not completely in the wrong here, because the truth is Elvira really had no reason to bring up this story other than the fact that it was an opportunity to spill the tea on someone that she clearly doesn't have good feelings about, and to bring some attention to yourself, I guess, whether it's positive or negative. I mean, the story did get a lot of attention, but she really didn't have to do or say all of that. And I do still think it's rude for Ariana to expect her to take pictures with all 20 of her guests just to decline one picture that she asked for and then ditch the show. But I also don't think it's that big of a deal. She didn't want the picture. She was trying to stay under the radar. She went through a traumatic experience just months earlier. Like, I can understand that. Although Elvira did give her time to Ariana and all of her guests, so you would think she'd be willing to at least take a photo with her after she did all of that. So it does come down to the fact that it was rude for Ariana to react like that. But I think the question ultimately is whether or not the story needed to be shared, especially in this way. Maybe it could have been discussed privately between the two of them, or maybe that's just not interesting enough and Elvira really did just want the drama, especially right now while Ariana's name is floating around a lot during the promotion of the new Wicked movie that she's in that's coming out next month. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole situation? Who is in the wrong here? Definitely leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.